a single moment can break everything you believe is stable. And in Heartland Season 20, Episode 1, that moment arrives without warning. Amy Fleming, the heart of the ranch, is suddenly caught between life and uncertainty as an unexpected medical crisis sends shockwaves through everyone who loves her. But what caused it? And why does it feel like this is only the beginning of something far more dangerous? The new season of Heartland opens with an uneasy silence that feels different from everything that came before. Life at the ranch has always been tested by storms, loss, and emotional battles, but this time, something deeper is unfolding. Amy Fleming is no longer just dealing with the weight of her past. She is now facing a present that begins to collapse around her in ways no one saw coming. In the days leading up to the crisis, Amy tries to maintain her strength. She continues working with horses, helping others heal, and staying connected to the land that has always given her purpose. But beneath her calm surface, something is not right. Small signs begin to appear, fatigue that doesn't go away, moments of dizziness she tries to ignore, and an emotional pressure she keeps pushing down, believing she can handle it alone. The people around her start to notice the change, especially those closest to her. Nathan Price sees it first. He knows Amy better than most, and he can sense when she is carrying too much. He tries to reach out, gently asking if she is okay, but Amy, as always, refuses to slow down. She tells him it is nothing serious, just exhaustion, just stress, just life at Heartland. But deep down, even she is not fully convinced by her own words. At the same time, the ranch itself is under increasing pressure. Unexpected challenges with livestock, financial concerns, and growing responsibilities stretch the family thin. Everyone is focused on survival in their own way, and Amy naturally falls into the role of support system once again. She becomes the one people rely on, even when she herself is slowly running out of strength. The turning point begins quietly, almost unnoticed. A normal day starts like any other. Amy sets out to handle what she thinks is just another routine task. But halfway through the day, something changes. Her vision blurs for a moment. The ground feels unsteady beneath her feet. She pauses, trying to steady herself, convincing herself it will pass. But it doesn't. Instead, it worsens. For a brief moment, she tries to push through it. That has always been her way. Keep going, stay strong, do not stop. But this time, her body refuses to listen. The world around her begins to fade at the edges, and the strength she has always depended on slips away faster than she can control. When Amy finally collapses, everything stops. The ranch that has always been full of life suddenly feels frozen in fear. People rush toward her, panic replacing routine. Voices overlap. Questions come without answers. No one understands what is happening, but everyone understands one thing clearly. This is serious. Nathan is the first to reach her, and the fear in his eyes says everything words cannot. This is not something small. This is not something that can be brushed off or delayed. Amy is unresponsive for a moment, and those seconds stretch into what feels like an eternity for everyone watching. Without wasting time, she is rushed toward urgent medical care. The journey is tense, silent, and filled with the kind of fear that no one wants to name out loud. Every passing second feels heavier than the last, as if the world itself is holding its breath. And as Amy crosses the threshold into emergency care, the reality finally becomes unavoidable. This is no longer just exhaustion. This is no longer just stress. Something inside her body has gone wrong, and no one yet knows how deep the crisis truly goes. The people she has always held together are now left waiting. And for the first time in a long time, Heartland is facing a situation where even hope feels uncertain. Inside the hospital, everything moves faster than anyone at Heartland is prepared for. The quiet strength of the ranch is replaced by flashing monitors, urgent footsteps, and voices speaking in a language filled with concern and uncertainty. Amy Fleming is no longer the one helping others heal. She is now the one being rushed into care, surrounded by questions no one can answer yet. Doctors begin immediate evaluation. Her condition is unstable, and the early signs are confusing even for experienced medical staff. There is no simple explanation. No clear trigger, just a body that has suddenly shut down under pressure that has been building silently for too long. Tests are ordered quickly, but every passing minute feels heavier for those waiting outside. Nathan stands in silence, unable to move at first. The man who has always been steady in difficult moments now finds himself shaken in a way he cannot hide. He keeps replaying the last conversation he had with Amy, trying to find something he missed, something he should have noticed earlier. But the truth is painful. Amy had been carrying this alone for longer than anyone realized. Back at Heartland, panic spreads quietly but deeply. The ranch family gathers, each person reacting in their own way. Some refuse to believe it is serious, others already fear the worst but do not say it out loud. The atmosphere is heavy, as if the entire land itself is holding grief before it even knows the outcome. Jack tries to remain grounded, but even his experience cannot fully prepare him for this moment. He has seen storms, loss, and hardship, but Amy's collapse feels different. It is personal in a way that shakes the foundation of everything they have built together. He becomes the anchor for everyone else, even while struggling to hold himself together. Meanwhile, the hospital team continues running urgent checks. Amy is conscious for brief moments, but her condition keeps pulling her in and out of awareness. When she does wake, even slightly, there is confusion in her eyes. She does not fully understand how she got there or how serious things have become. That uncertainty only deepens the fear around her. Nathan is finally allowed to see her for a short moment. The sight is enough to break his composure. Amy, who has always been strong, independent, and emotionally steady, now looks fragile in a way no one is used to seeing. But even in this condition, she tries to reassure him. A faint attempt at a smile. A soft word telling him she is okay, even when she clearly is not. That moment becomes the emotional center of everything unfolding, because it shows something deeper than the crisis itself. Amy's instinct to protect others, even when she is the one in danger. Nathan holds her hand tightly, not letting go, as if afraid that even a second of distance could change everything. Outside the room, doctors begin discussing possibilities, but nothing is confirmed yet. They mention stress-related collapse, possible internal complications, and the need for more advanced testing. Every theory feels incomplete, as if something important is still hidden beneath the surface. And that is where the fear begins to grow, not from what they know, but from what they don't. At Heartland, the silence becomes unbearable. Every passing update is awaited like a lifeline. Every phone call creates tension before it is even answered. The family that has always faced problems together is now separated by uncertainty, each person trapped in their own thoughts, fears, and regrets. As night begins to fall, the situation does not stabilize. Instead, it deepens. Amy's condition remains fragile, and the doctors prepare for the possibility that the next few hours will be critical. Nothing is guaranteed, nothing is predictable. And for the first time, Heartland is not dealing with a problem they can fix on the land, but a crisis that must be fought inside the walls of a hospital, where even love and strength feel powerless against time. As the night deepens, the atmosphere inside the hospital becomes heavier, almost suffocating. Every sound feels sharper, every silence feels longer. Amy Fleming's condition remains unstable, and the medical team continues working around the clock, trying to understand what is happening inside her body. But the answers are still not clear, and that uncertainty is slowly turning into fear. The doctors explain that Amy's collapse was not caused by a single, obvious factor. Instead, it appears to be a combination of exhaustion, physical strain, and something deeper that has not fully revealed itself yet. Her body has been under pressure for a long time, far longer than anyone realized. And now, it has reached a breaking point. Nathan stays close, refusing to leave her side. He watches every movement, every monitor change, every small sign of progress or decline. But what hurts most is the waiting. There is nothing he can do except be present, hold her hand, and hope she comes back fully. That helplessness is new for him, and it shakes him in ways he does not openly show. Back at Heartland, the ranch feels empty without Amy's presence. She has always been the emotional center, the one who brings balance when everything becomes unstable. Now, that balance is gone. The family tries to stay strong, but conversations are shorter, sleep is harder, and fear sits quietly in every corner of the house. Jack takes on the responsibility of holding everyone together, but even he is affected deeply. He spends time alone outside, looking at the land Amy loves so much, as if searching for answers in the silence. For him, this is not just about a medical emergency. It is about the possibility of losing someone who represents the heart of everything they have built. Meanwhile, new developments inside the hospital add more tension. Amy's condition shows slight fluctuations, moments where she seems to stabilize, followed by sudden drops that alarm the medical team again. There is no steady pattern, only unpredictability. That makes it even harder to determine what the next step should be. Nathan finally speaks to the doctors in more detail, pushing for answers. He wants to know everything, no matter how difficult. The response is careful but concerning. They are still running tests, but they cannot rule out internal complications that may require immediate intervention if her condition worsens again. Hearing this changes everything. It is no longer just observation. It is now a race against time. Inside her brief moments of awareness, Amy begins to experience fragments of clarity. She hears voices. She feels presence. But everything feels distant, as if she is caught between two worlds. In those moments, she tries to speak, but her strength does not fully return. Still, her instincts remain the same. She worries about others, not herself. Nathan gently reassures her each time she wakes, telling her she is not alone, that she is safe, that she just needs to rest. His voice becomes something she holds on to, even when everything else feels uncertain. But the emotional weight of the situation begins to grow for everyone involved. The uncertainty is no longer just medical. It is emotional, psychological, and deeply personal. Each person at Heartland starts to reflect on their relationship with Amy, the moments they shared, and the things left unsaid. And then comes the hardest realization of all. No one truly knows how this will end. As the clock moves forward, the medical team prepares for possible emergency measures if Amy's condition worsens again. The word critical is not spoken loudly, but it hangs in the air constantly. Everyone understands its meaning without needing explanation. Outside the hospital room, Nathan makes a silent promise. Not to leave, not to give up, and not to let Amy face this alone, no matter how difficult the road ahead becomes. And somewhere deep in the quiet of the night, Heartland waits for a sign, for stability, for hope, while time continues moving forward without mercy. As dawn slowly begins to break, the hospital corridor still feels like night never truly ended. The light outside may be changing, but inside, nothing feels lighter. Amy Fleming remains under close observation, and the tension surrounding her condition has not eased. If anything, the uncertainty has only grown sharper with time. Doctors continue monitoring every sign from her body, carefully analyzing each fluctuation. There are small moments where her condition appears to stabilize, but they do not last long. Each improvement is followed by another drop that forces the medical team to remain on high alert. It is a fragile balance, as if her body is fighting to stay, but struggling to hold on. Nathan has not moved from her side. Fatigue is visible on his face, but he refuses to step away. For him, leaving even for a moment feels like abandoning her in her most vulnerable state. He watches every breath she takes, every slight movement, as if trying to stay connected through sheer presence alone. At Heartland, the rest of the family struggles with distance and helplessness. Waiting is the hardest part. No work, no routine, nothing can distract them from the constant fear of what news might come next. Every phone ring creates tension. Every silence feels like a warning. The ranch, usually full of life and movement, now feels suspended in emotional stillness. Jack tries to remain strong, but even his patience is wearing thin. He has faced many hardships in his life, but this one feels different because it involves Amy, the person who has carried forward the legacy of everything he values most. He spends time reflecting quietly, holding on to memories while trying not to think about worst-case outcomes. Meanwhile, inside the hospital room, Amy experiences another wave of awareness. It is brief, fragile, but significant. Her eyes open, and for a moment she recognizes Nathan clearly. There is confusion, but also relief in her expression when she realizes he is still there. That small connection becomes a lifeline for both of them. Nathan immediately speaks to her softly, telling her she is safe, that she is being taken care of, and that she just needs to keep fighting. Amy tries to respond, but her strength fades quickly. Still, that moment matters. It confirms that she is still present, still aware, still fighting in her own way. Doctors take advantage of these brief improvements to run additional assessments. They begin to narrow down possible causes, but nothing definitive is confirmed yet. There are suggestions of severe exhaustion combined with underlying complications that may have gone unnoticed over time. The lack of clarity continues to frustrate everyone involved. The medical team also warns Nathan that recovery will not be immediate, even if she stabilizes. If Amy pulls through this phase, it will require time, rest, and a complete shift in how she manages her physical and emotional workload. The warning is subtle, but clear. Her life cannot continue the same way it did before this crisis. That realization hits harder than expected, because Amy has always defined herself through strength, responsibility, and constant care for others. Slowing down is not something she easily accepts, and now she may be forced into a reality where she has no choice. Outside the room, Nathan reflects on everything he knows about her. He understands her independence, her resilience, and her tendency to carry burdens alone. But now, he also understands something deeper: how close she came to breaking without ever saying it out loud. As the day continues, Amy's condition remains unstable, but slightly more controlled than before. It is not recovery, but it is also not decline. It is a dangerous in-between state that keeps everyone on edge. Heartland family members begin receiving updates, each one carefully worded but emotionally heavy. There is relief that she is still fighting, but fear remains because the situation is far from over. No one is allowed to relax, not even for a moment. And as the world outside continues moving forward, inside that hospital, everything still revolves around one fragile truth. Amy Fleming is alive, but not yet safe, and the next change in her condition could decide everything. As the final stretch of uncertainty unfolds, the atmosphere begins to shift, but not toward relief. Instead, it moves into a deeper kind of tension, where hope and fear exist side by side. Amy Fleming's condition is no longer in constant decline, but she is still far from stable. Every improvement feels temporary, as if the situation is holding its breath before the next turn. The doctors make it clear that the worst immediate danger has passed, but that does not mean she is out of risk. Her body is still weak, still recovering from a collapse that revealed just how much pressure she had been carrying for too long. The word they use is fragile, and it echoes through every conversation around her. Nathan finally receives a small moment of reassurance from the medical team. They tell him that Amy is responding, slowly but positively, to treatment. It is not a full recovery, but it is enough to prevent the situation from escalating further. For the first time since the crisis began, there is a faint sense that she may pull through. But even that relief comes with weight, because survival is only the first step. What comes after will be even more difficult: healing, recovery, and the emotional reality of what her body has gone through. Nathan understands this deeply now. This is not just about getting Amy back on her feet. It is about changing the way she lives going forward. Back at Heartland, the news spreads carefully. There is relief, but it is quiet, controlled, almost hesitant. No one celebrates fully because no one wants to assume the danger is gone. The family has learned to respect uncertainty. Still, the smallest sign of improvement brings emotional release that has been held in for far too long. Jack allows himself a rare moment of silence without fear dominating his thoughts. He sits outside, looking over the land, and for the first time since the crisis began, he breathes a little easier. But even in that moment, he knows the journey is not over yet. Amy's return to health will take time, and nothing will ever be exactly the same again. Inside the hospital, Amy becomes more consistently conscious. She is still weak, but she begins to recognize her surroundings more clearly. Nathan stays with her, and their conversations become slightly longer, slightly more grounded. She asks small questions, trying to understand what happened, and each answer reveals just how serious things truly were. There is a quiet, emotional shift between them in these moments. Amy is no longer just the strong caregiver. She is now someone who has been forced to receive care, to depend on others, and to confront her own limits. It is unfamiliar territory for her, and it shows in her silence as much as in her words. Nathan, on the other hand, becomes more protective, but not in a controlling way. It is gentle, patient, and steady. He does not rush her, he does not push her, he simply stays, proving through presence that she is not alone in this process. Doctors begin discussing the next phase, recovery and observation. They emphasize rest, emotional stability, and a complete reduction in stress. It becomes clear that Amy's life will need to slow down significantly, at least for a while. That idea brings its own emotional challenge, because Heartland has always been her purpose, her identity, and her responsibility. As the episode nears its emotional close, Amy is finally shown in a more stable state. Not fully recovered, but no longer in immediate danger. The crisis that shook everyone has not disappeared, but it has shifted into